Queen are in quite a good spot right now. Whilst they're certainly not the biggest thing, they seem to be getting a lot of recognition due to the Bohemian Rhapsody movie. In fact, Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody, by which I'm referring to the song, made its third appearance on the charts last year, which is quite a feat, and not half bad considering the song was originally published in 1975. This has got me thinking, when were Queen at their peak of popularity, and what enabled them to get there? Well, don't worry, because I've got the answers.
Buddy, you're a boy, make a big noise, playing in the street, gonna be a big man someday. You got mud on your face, you big disgrace, kicking your can all over the place, singing, we will rock you.
To make things comprehensible, popularity is being liked and adored by many. Sure, Queen had experienced popularity in the 70s, although their popularity was not universal, not until after having released 11 albums and performed live in dozens of areas they finally broke America. The reason why being successful in America was such a big deal is because once you're popular in the USA, you've pretty much made it, with band member Roger Taylor stating, if you're successful in America, basically you've made it. However, this world domination was short-lived, with Queen eventually releasing without a doubt their worst album, Hot Space, and then later losing America forever because of the so-called controversial music video for I Want to Break Free. But I digress. Let's take a look at some reasons to why Queen were able to seek world domination. First of all, let me just explain what I'm attempting to get at here. Here I'm hoping to focus mainly on their albums and songs to prove my point. Subjects other than songs and albums such as live performances deserve a video in their own right. In fear of overcomplicating things, I've attempted to make these points as manageable as possible, stripping down the elements which contributed towards Queen's inevitable popularity. I wish to state right off the bat that I don't intend on revealing the true reason for the band's peak of popularity. Not to mention that would be ridiculous. There will never be one straight answer. We can all agree that there are a wealth of reasons which are responsible for the topic at hand. Consistency. Throughout 1973 to 1991, Queen were never in lack of consistency. When you consider the multitude of albums they have released, it is really quite spectacular. From 1973 to 1980, which is where we'll be looking at today, Queen released several studio albums. I'm choosing to look at studio albums because looking at only their studio albums gives us a greater understanding of the band's level of consistency. Starting with their debut album in 1973 titled Queen, it was okay. Queen 2, a good album which many appreciate. Sheer Heart Attack, a good album. A Night at the Opera, one of their best if not their best album. A Day at the Races, a good album. News of the World, a superb album. Jazz, a good album. The Game, a great album. I could go on and on about the albums. None of them were bad during that period. They mainly just range from okay to perfect. Something else that allows us to gauge their level of consistency is the songs. From 7 Seas of Rye to Another One Bites the Dust, there were many hits. Bohemian Rhapsody, Killer Queen, Don't Stop Me Now. This period offered most of Queen's bigger hits, and it was at a constant rate. With that said, I think I've made my point here. Let's discuss sound, specifically the aforementioned Queen sound. The Queen sound. Something I hear mentioned often, but the question is, what is the Queen sound? Well, every group and artist has their own unique sound, their own fingerprint if you will. Groups or artists such as the Beatles, George Michael and Prince all have a certain sound which identifies them. Sure, the sound of their work may change over the years, yet we can almost always tell which group or artist made a specific song, and this goes for Queen too. With Queen, their sound is different in comparison to other groups or artists, especially at that time. It gives them a sense of identity, which is important in the music industry. You have to be different to get recognized. If you compare a Queen song such as Somebody to Love to anything around at the time, it sounds distinct in comparison to anything else. If I wish to accentuate this point further, I could always compare Bohemian Rhapsody to something around that time, but that would be too obvious. Moreover, Queen are a rock group, but they have tried many different styles such as disco, pop, and opera, although there is always a distinct Queen sound. The Queen sound may be Freddie Mercury's perfect voice perhaps, but if you take a song such as Killer Queen and compare it to Crazy Little Thing Called Love, they are different, yet similar. You could not mistake these two songs for being by different artists other than Queen, although they only sound different compared to each other due to the genres being different. Nonetheless, you can still tell it's Queen. Okay, that takes care of the more in-depth points I wish to make. Now let's move on to the final point for this video. Another One Bites the Dust. This one track, a massive hit for the band. Nonetheless, how does this song have any relation to the topic? The killer track Another One Bites the Dust was moving more towards black music than white music, which is important. Brian May explains how this track helped Queen take over the world, stating, "There's one particular station in New York, picked it up thinking that we were a black band, and played the hell out of it, and it became a huge hit." The song ended up selling around 3 million, becoming multi-million platinum in America, which therefore allowed Queen to become the biggest group in the world by 1980. To sum it all up, the reasons for Queen's peak in popularity during 1980 are as follows. Firstly, Queen had incredible consistency throughout 1973 to 1980, with mainly their albums and songs. Secondly, Queen had a sense of identity with the aforementioned Queen sound, which differentiated them from other groups and artists around that time. Last but not least, Another One Bites the Dust gave them universal exposure, which therefore resulted in them becoming the biggest group during 1980. To me, those sound like viable reasons, although there is no way to know. This is nothing more than speculation, a theory I suppose. My goal was to only make you viewers realise how Queen made it to the popularity, and when Queen were at their peak of popularity, especially at this time when many are just discovering the band's fantastic music. For the longest time until now, Queen have always been in the background, nothing but an element of the past. It's important to move on and let time continue. However, let Queen enjoy this time in the spotlight, listen to their music, enjoy their live shows. Do all of this before, well, they inevitably become nothing but a fragment of the past once again.